I don't know how this show does what it does. I really don't. Hey everyone, Aaron here. Welcome back to another anime review. Today we're looking at episode 18 of ReZero. My god. So I'm going to give you guys a little heads up. There's not going to be a lot of actual screenshots. Typically I always have like 11 to 12 screenshots per one of my reviews. Probably only will be 6. I'm thinking 6 or maybe 5. Because essentially what ReZero does here is it encapsulates a whole episode with only several dozen scenes that really actually matter, I should say, if anything. It's gonna be hard to explain, so I'm gonna try to do my best to explain how great of an episode this was, using as the littlest amount of screenshots I can possibly muster, because honestly, I've never seen a show do something this powerful before, and I'm not trying to, like, I don't want to say ReZero is the best anime ever made. I don't want to ever say something like that, because I don't think there is such thing as best anime ever made. I think there are animes you can consider your favorites. I think there are anime that are amazing or are done super well, that are considered legendary and stuff like that, but I don't always say something's better than anything else. I just say in the sense that this is a show that does something I've never seen before in my 20 plus years of watching anime. It was just that awesome. So let's just talk about what happened in the episode, and I'll get more into why this episode was so awesome. In the very beginning, we have Puck again, showing up as he did in the last episode, episode 17, and Puck's mad. He kills off all the cult members in one fell swoop using his icicle attack, leaving Subaru and Betelgeuse the only ones, like, essentially undamaged. Now, Betelgeuse, however, tries to do a surprise attack on him and grab him with his shadow hands, but Puck is too strong, and Puck tells him, hey, listen, I've been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. How dare you talk to me about time like you're someone stronger than me? And he just freezes the area around him, turns into his giant form, which we saw on episode 15. And, yeah, just essentially obliterates Betelgeuse with freezing attacks where he makes him just fall apart, and then he implodes. It's amazing. Now, he treats Subaru at first, well, it seems like, he's going to treat him not that bad, but then he tells him, you've committed 3 sins. And he goes over essentially telling him how you failed Amelia doing this, that, and whatnot, not protecting her, and stuff like that. And he says because Amelia is dead, he is going to destroy the world. Because he has no reason other than Amelia to live. Now that she's gone, he doesn't care about the world anymore, so he's going to destroy the world. And essentially kills Subaru in a way of freezing him over to the point that Subaru's still alive, actually, as he's falling apart and breaking down. But he falls apart and is laughing maniacally because he realizes his big failure. Thus, we have Subaru going back through the ropes again, starting back over, another return by death. And essentially, from here on out, this episode is essentially just him and Rem talking on a veranda. That's all they're doing for this whole episode. They're just talking and reminiscing about things. Subaru does a lot of yelling. That's one thing that he's going to be doing this whole episode, yelling. Meanwhile, Rem is going to be the one trying to comfort him. Now, when it first starts, though, the first kind of onslaught, he talks about him wanting to run away, and he says, hey, Rem, come with me. We'll run away to a town in the far west. I think it's called Katsuragi or something like that. And he says, we'll go over there, we'll grow up over there, we'll do whatever we have to, it might be hard at first. And Rem surprises him by saying, no, she's not going to do it. And he goes, well, why not? And then she goes into detail of actually saying how she's planned out all of the stuff that they would have done together. She says that she would have got a job because she says she has an education, so she would have got a job somewhere. He has manual labors that he probably could do. That she says that he would train up and study and then become someone a little bit smarter, able to take another job. She talks about how they would have kids together, how they would grow old together, how she wanted to die before him. This way she could feel his presence as she died, surrounded by warmth and love from both him and maybe the children that they have. It's amazing how she goes into detail about her future life with them. And he's surprised because he goes, well, if you're willing to do that, why not just go with me? She goes, no, I have to stay here. You have to stay here. You have to help do what you have to do. And he breaks down. Subaru, like, we've had Subaru break down multiple times in this show, but this is the first time, I think, honest to God, he has broken down to the point that he just talks about his character. And you know what? I give Subaru, like, I know people will hate Subaru for what he does in this episode because of how he talks about himself and how he makes himself sound, because he will talk nonstop about how trashy he is. He talks about how much of a failure in life he is, how much he's never done anything for anyone else, how he always puts on a big show and is very prideful, is very slothful. He talks about his failures in his past life and, you know, what has led him up to this point. And he says that he just hates himself. And I give him credit. I give the writers credit for making a character that can actually openly say how much they despise themselves, knowing full well what they do and how they do it. It's, if you really think about it, I know there's a lot of anime that have characters that will talk about their inner weaknesses and their strengths and cons. It's been a long time since I've seen a show that has a character just basically let loose everything about themselves, though. Like, in the sense that they start from square one of how bad of a character they think they are, how they know they are horrible in this way, they know they try too hard, they know... I've never seen that before from a character, I'll be honest with you. I'm trying to think of shows that have done that before, and I really cannot do that. This is one of the most impressive things I've ever seen in ReZero, and more so impressive than any anime I've ever seen in my life, to be honest. I know I don't want to, again, I'm not trying to put it on a pedestal. I know people might get pissed off at that, but honestly, it's just that awesome. It really was. So Ren, though, talks about how she loves Subaru. She even tells him, "I love you." She talks about how he is such a great person. You know, he doesn't see the stuff he does, and it's true. If you're really paying attention to everything around in the show, you see that maybe Subaru does put on a big game. He knows that he puts on a big game. He is that type of character, but he goes about doing things in his own way, and he's never succumbed to saying, "I can't do it." He'll try anything, even when he seems like he's at wit's end. He still goes on and does it. We've seen this from him before. It's just now that I think, and people are forgetting that it's just now that he's seeing nonstop how much of a failure he is and what he's not doing and what he can't do, and that's why it's causing him so much grief and why he feels like he's so weak. But, you know, she talks about how she loves that about him. She loves that he's like that. And, you know, ironically, she tells him, like I said, that she loves him, and he looks at her, and you start seeing something from Subaru where you start seeing him waking up a little bit. He asks her, why do you love someone like me? Why would you not feel, you know, something towards me, you know, in the sense that hatred, maybe dislike me? And she calls him his hero. You know, she says that you've saved me from everything. You saved me from this cold place that I originally was in. And from here on they show several scenes of them just basically embracing one another. And I give Subaru credit. He actually goes and says, "Hey, listen, you know I like Amelia, right? I love Amelia." And she goes, "I know," you know, and they laugh together, and he realizes that his thing is he wants to protect Amelia. He wants to save her. He wants to do what he can for her because he does care for her that much. And I give him credit. And also I give Rem credit for having the actual title of the show thrown into the anime the way they did. I think that's actually pretty cool. When they talk about how they should start from square one. And then she goes, no, more like from square zero. Like from the beginning. Let this be the beginning of this. And he agrees with that. And he actually asks her for help. He goes, you know, listen, can you help me? Can you follow my side? And you know, because he can't do anything by himself. And she even says, you know, it's kind of harsh to say that to someone after you just, rejected them. Because he did essentially reject Rem. And I know some people are going to be pissed off, especially the people who love Rem so much. Because, I mean, I love Rem too. I think she's a lot better than Amelia. I'll say that right now. I used to think Amelia was. I love Rem. I think she is definitely one of the girls of the year, surprising enough. But, you know, he says, he looks at her, you know, they embrace once more, and he finally has determination that isn't determination of rage or anger or suffering. This is now determination. This is the Subaru we wanted to see from the beginning, and we saw glimpses of this. We saw this in several dozen episodes, that he has this about him, that he could keep going. This is him restarting, essentially, going from ReZero, essentially, and becoming strong enough that he realizes what he has to do. And no matter what, he's not going to give up on it. This was awesome. Now, again, why I love this episode so much is because it's all on this one scene. It works with just flashbacks, essentially. It works with, and I know I've said the word essentially, but I said a whole bunch of times, so I do apologize for that. But it's because it's the best way I can convey these things in this review. You have Subaru and Rem being the only focal point of this whole episode. They are the main focus. There's really nothing else except for the very first 3 minutes that's, you know, Puck destroying everyone and all that, which is still awesome. But having this and seeing this done this manner, is something I've not seen from an anime in my lifetime. Because it's something where you could have scenes like this where there was a lot of build up and emotion in one scene without having to use multiple imagery shots and all that. This show did something which it did something very similar, but it had the whole 25 minutes of this episode, essentially 22 minutes of this episode on this veranda of them talking to one another, and that's it. That was it, and I give them credit because it wasn't boring, it wasn't not interesting, it was always something spectacular to see, both visually and just to hear it. The voice actors, I will give them so much credit. They really poured their souls into this scene, you can tell. And it was awesome because, I give props to the voice actor of Subaru for this, just the sheer fact of how much he conveyed emotionally in this episode by screaming and crying and yelling and all this other stuff that he was doing. Honestly, this is one of those episodes that goes down as one of the best episodes for me of ReZero. It really does. One of my professors used to always say that it's easy to convey a story in a lot of words, but it's even harder to convey a good story in a very few amount of words. Essentially, ReZero did that today with episode 18 and conveying very little, in a very little scene, I should say, but conveying it with so much thought and emotion and provoking of just different feelings I got from this. And I know it's weird, it's like so hard to explain, but honestly, this is such an amazing episode, and I hope you guys enjoyed the review. I know it's pretty long, so I'm going to stop it here. But anyways, guys and girls, as always, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. I want to hear your comments below. What did you think about this episode? Was it good? Did you think it was boring because they were over here this whole time? Let me know. I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.